The game of basketball is evolving at the fastest rate we've ever seen. Maybe it's because people have more access to information, so players, teams, coaches are constantly seeing what others are doing, finding new ways to do things. We're blending different styles of basketball internationally. Players are becoming more skilled, faster, more athletic, so we're finding new ways to deal with that and leverage that. And I can go on and on about why it's changing, but the fact of the matter is that it's evolving fast. And if you're not preparing for this, if you're sticking to the old school principles, if you're training for the game that was the game 20 years ago, you're gonna fall behind. You're not going to be prepared to play at that next level or to coach at that next level. So in this video, I'm going to give you some of the biggest ways that the game is changing. Obviously, I'm going to use mostly NBA, EuroLeague, college clips, but trust me, all of this trickles down to every level. It may take a few years, but even if you're a young player or you coach younger players, understand that what you're seeing at this level, at the highest level right now, is going to trickle down, so you might as well be ahead of the curve. And as a part of this, I'll make sure that you know exactly how to prepare for this. And if you want a structured program, a perfect blueprint for how to prepare for this, check out our virtual academy app. This is going to give you everything you need: programs, mental training, athleticism training, to ensure that you're staying up to date with the evolving game. As always, no pressure though, it's in the description, but let's get to the video. So first off is an obvious one, so I'm not going to spend too much time here, but the game is getting stronger. Players are getting older, right? Whether it's in college basketball where you're playing 25-year-olds, this could be AAU and high school basketball, even internationally, right? If you're a good international player, you're going to be expected to play with professionals, 35-year-olds. This is also just a result of better, more intentional strength training, more athletes starting to play basketball versus other sports like soccer or American football. And long story short, if you are not prepared to match the physicality, the strength, the athleticism of the game these days, you will not play. Now, this doesn't mean you have to be athletic. This doesn't mean you have to look like prime LeBron. But what it does mean is that you need to be maximizing your strength, your basketball strength. So doing this with consistent, innovative strength training, not just skipping on the weight room because it sucks sometimes and we're hoopers and we don't really like lifting most times, but also learning how to leverage your body. So becoming super adaptable, getting that human to human strength down. And how I would suggest doing this part is playing a lot of live basketball, specifically small-sided games like these that help you learn how to use your body to leverage contact, to deal with physicality and more. But I have a bunch more on this and other content, especially this video right here. So I'm gonna let you check out this video for more. Just know that this is a contact sport and it's only getting stronger, it's only getting more athletic, and you probably should prepare for that. Oh, and offense is allowed a bit more physicality now, so you can either complain about it or you can learn how to deal with that defensively. Next up, number 2, decisions are made faster at every level. Even 10 years ago, it was much more accepted to sit in triple threat for 2 to 5 seconds, but now the game is really starting to prioritize quicker decisions on the catch. The teams that are really good are the ones who can create advantages consistently, but then make extremely quick, quality decisions as soon as they catch it to keep that advantage going and capitalize on these decisions like you see here. Now, of course, quick decisions have always been important, but keep in mind, 1, there's more space now, meaning that attacking a closeout like this often leads to a far more open driving lane versus what we had 5-10 years ago even, which is defenders sitting right there in the gap on a more collapsed court. So these opportunities are higher value. We also got harder closeouts due to the value of the 3-ball, which means these defenders are committing harder, closing out of control, getting out there quicker, so you have no time to think. But if you make a good decision, you can really blow by them. 3, we got craftier defensive rotations with X-outs, more peel switching, etc. So these windows of opportunity tend to expire a bit quicker now. And 4, in my opinion, good teams play better in dominoes these days, or in other words, swinging the ball around quickly to find the best shot for a number of reasons. But again, a lot of this comes down to 3-point shooting. So learning how to make these quick 1-more passes and attack and keep this advantage going to find those shots. So I'd argue that attacking closeouts and shooting off the catch is potentially the most important skill in basketball right now, or one of them, but it's definitely more important than learning how to beat defenders off a bunch of jab steps. You do not have as much time for that these days. You got to learn how to make super quick decisions, use creative footwork and attacking options like stampedes when catching the ball, and learning how to be in control here. Because I see a ton of players who miss out on opportunities, maybe travel when they're exploding off the catch. And if you're not killing closeouts over and over again, well, you're not prepared for the modern game. This in a way leads me into my next point, which is that everyone's expected to shoot a bit more dynamically now at all levels. Of course, if you're 6'8" and you're sitting on the perimeter with a player who's really good at creating open shots for you, okay, you're probably gonna get by as just a standstill shooter. However, if you're a guard and if you're looking to shoot it at a higher volume, which is very highly valued at this point, You're gonna need to be able to shoot on the move more than was needed even 10, 20 years ago. Back then, if you could shoot standstill shots at a high clip, you're already very valued because not everyone could shoot. But being able to quickly space out, stop yourself on a dime in transition or moving fast, quickly raise up into a three while potentially drifting, rotating, shooting off a slightly bad pass at high speeds. You're not really a shooter these days if you can't shoot through this dynamic chaos and still find consistency in your technique and obviously with making the shot. Now, speaking of shooting, of course, the narrative these days is that the mid-range is completely gone, but I would actually beg to differ here. Number one, I'll say that the mid-range is actually very important still to keep defenders accountable, especially when you are not an NBA player. However, the value has really started to shift towards the fourth level here. So instead of shooting longer mid-range shots, it's way more accepted now to shoot shorter jumpers as well as floaters, really within that paint range that are the more efficient mid-range shots versus long middies. And you'll see most point guards, shooting guards at every level, including the NBA, shooting these. In fact, players actually shoot significantly more of these than they did 10 years ago. Just because I find this interesting, in the NBA, there are around 16 guys this year who shoot over 3 of these per game, these short jumpers, not even including floaters. Since 2020, this has been increasing every year, right? Guys are hunting these down. For comparison, between 2010 to 2020, this number hovered around 3 to 7 guys per year. Again, that's 16 now. Another comparison here, in 2015 to 2016, 28 players shot over 3 long mid-range shots a game. This season, only one player is doing that. 28 down to 1. That one player, of course, is DeMar DeRozan, but that's his signature. So again, long story short, players are still shooting mid-range, but instead of the longer, close to the three-point line mid-range, they're closer ones. So train these, learn how to get to them, learn how to not always attack the rim, but stop short for these different options that are still mid-range shots, but a little bit higher percentage. Now, the next area where the game is constantly evolving is, of course, that we're going to more 5 out or more 4 out, 1 in. And what this means is that bigs are playing on the perimeter more. And no, not every big is looking to be Kevin Durant. There's this narrative that bigs don't play like bigs anymore and they're all just trying to shoot threes and take guys off the dribble. And that's just not the case. What's really happening with most systems that are running 5 out is that they're using the big to set more screens, quicker screens, and be a hub where they're constantly passing, looking to reverse the ball, playing off the short roll, and getting super creative with helping the guards get open. Then, of course, if they can shoot it and they have an open shot, they will. But for you, if you're a guard watching this, you need to learn how to play in systems that run this 5 out where the big is really helping you create advantages by getting to you quickly and getting more creative with ball screens, flares, gets, and more. Perfect transition here to my next point, which is screen literacy. Obviously, with more innovation in the game comes more types of screens, more different combinations of screens. So things like flare screens, ghost screens, twists, stack action, and much more have been around for decades, of course, but now are becoming true staples of the game. So you need to learn how to capitalize on a variety of screens, not just pin downs and simple ball screens like you did probably even 5 to 10 years ago. Not to mention, ball screens have a ton of different variations these days, as I just alluded to. So if you're a guard who's not familiar with a bunch of different ball screen options, you should probably study the game a little bit more. Second to last here is defensively. As we talked about earlier, since the ball is starting to move around so quickly and players are getting so good at attacking closeouts, defensively, you need to have the IQ and the feel to fly around and rotate once these advantages are created. Of course, good defenses have always been able to do this, but defenses are becoming way more creative and you can't just get away with being a dog on the ball anymore. You got to be able to X out, peel switch, rotate, develop instincts off the ball to stifle advantages once they're created. And this takes IQ. And then lastly, just overall, everyone's getting skilled. Millions of players around the world can handle the ball well, can do crazy things around the rim, can shoot it well in workouts. But at the highest level, and trust me, I'm saying this from experience talking to NBA staffs, EuroLeague staffs, Division I coaches, they know that so many players are skilled. What they're looking for are players who can make quality decisions and play a role. Now that role doesn't mean that you're not shooting the ball much, but you know exactly what to do in each situation and you're constantly making the right decision. And how you can prepare for this? Well, obviously study the game, watch basketball, build your IQ through observation, but you also need to play a lot of basketball. This could be pickup, this could also be small-sided games, scrimmages, not just going to AAU tournaments and playing shitty AAU basketball over and over again. That, of course, is a part of it. It's fun. I'm not saying not to play AAU basketball, but really prioritize learning how to play real basketball. So I appreciate you guys for tuning in. I know some of these are a little bit different, innovative, but these are things that I'm talking to very high-level coaches about, that I'm building with some of the pro players and college players that we work with. And I promise you, these things pay off. The game is evolving fast, and I want you guys to be able to keep up with it because I care about you guys, your success, you maximizing your potential. And if you have any questions at all on any of this, shoot me a DM on Instagram. We'll have a conversation.